American elections are clean, pristine clean. Welcome to this video and welcome to Pillar on Politics, and I'm Bob Pillar. And in this video we're going to look and see just how clean, spick and span clean American elections really are. And we'll be focusing on the last 10 presidential elections. Donald Trump is a torrent of allegations of massive voter fraud by the Democratic Party. Through his rallies, his social media account, Trump has probably said, for sure, in the thousands of times, he has talked to his MAGA supporters about voter fraud. And of course, his entire MAGA base buys into this. And what is so despairing is I am not seeing an equivalent pushback by the Democrats against this outrage. Of course, Donald Trump knows the elections are clean. What he's doing is in a long tradition, basically coming out of the Bible Belt Southern Confederate States South, of denying voter rights to people they do not want to have vote, which of course means American blacks primarily, but can be extended to other people. This is a long, entrenched American political tradition, and we still see it rising today. This is nothing more than what was done in Jim Crow 140 years ago. The statistics saying that American elections are clean. And to do that, we're going to rely on a database put together by none other than the Heritage Foundation, a far right-wing religious think tank. The organization that produced and authored Project 2025, which is Trump's guideline and blueprint for his second term, which he has been implementing pretty much right straight through. That is trying to convince us that American elections are indeed flawed, but in fact the statistics prove how clean they are. The Heritage Foundation election fraud map shows proven instances of election fraud, and the intention is to demonstrate the vulnerabilities in the election process and the ways in which fraud is committed. Their database covers every election from the midterms in 1982 to the 2024 presidential election, so federal elections. It has unearthed a total of 1,620 proven cases of election fraud. The Heritage Foundation wants you to think that these 1,620 cases over 40 years somehow indicate that there is significant rot in the American electoral system. I'm going to focus on the last 10 presidential elections, going from the top left, 2024, and in a clockwise manner down to 1988 between George H.W. Bush, and Michael Dukakis. In these 10 presidential elections, there were a total of 1,231,000,000 votes. And in this 1.23 billion votes, there have been 324 cases of proven voting fraud. Let me repeat that. 324 cases of proven fraud. That is 0.00003%. But such a number perhaps isn't really readily understandable. Let me try to illustrate it this way. Let's see how long it takes to count all of the fraudulent vote cases in the last 10 presidential elections. That is, I have to see how long it takes to count up to 324. 1, 2, 3, 324, 322, 323, 324. Done. That took, let's call it 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Even if we could count at the same rate as we did up to 324, it would take 30 years, 1 month and 13 days to count up to 1,231,000,000. But I can't count at the same rate. And for an obvious reason, let me just demonstrate it quickly here. 324. That took just about 2 seconds. 1,230,999. That took over 6 seconds, 3 times as long as to say 324, which means we cannot count at the same rate or pace, which means it'll take, twice as long, 3 times as long, without sleeping, without eating, without walking the dog, without changing the kids' nappies, without anything, just straight through counting. A lifetime, definitely a lifetime, doing nothing but that. And I can count the number of fraudulent vote cases in the last 10 presidential elections in under 5 minutes. What does this say? Very obvious what it says, right? American elections are clean, 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 and yet even more clean. Given Donald Trump's full-on assault on American democracy and elections through his grotesque allegations of massive voter fraud, every Democrat, and I call on every Democratic politician and pundit, in every interview, public statement, podcast, article, to begin with this statement. American elections are clean, 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 super spick and span clean. Typically what one hears is a pretty feeble statement that, there is no evidence of massive voter fraud, right? Which somehow leaves the possibility that there could be voter fraud. There's no evidence of it. The statement must be stronger, forceful, straightforward. The evidence conclusively shows, without doubt, absolutely, that American elections are clean, 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 super spick and span clean. Now, I have a more involved video on Trump and MAGA and voter fraud entitled Donald Trump, MAGA, and the Rebel Yell of Voter Fraud. The link is in the description, so I hope you will check it out. Thank you for joining me on this Pillar on Politics video on clean American elections, and until the next video, take care.